The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, welcome out there once again. It was a pleasure to have you out there and always a pleasure to be here. I have a very interesting guest, but before I get to my guest, I want to mention that the Miller Monument ceremony that took place Monday, the 28th, that was Memorial Day, it was a real good turnout. Matter of fact, we have a wonderful montage of pictures with music that's eventually going to be aired here at the school, Channel 95. That was done by Joanne Brault, who did the videography, and also Barry French, who took the pictures. So look forward to seeing that on Channel 95. Let your friends know it's a spectacular piece of work by those two. So that will be part of programming here. And also they're working on a video of the whole ceremony. So that's being worked on, and maybe a week or so from now, that'll be aired also here on Channel 95. So let your friends know, because it really turned out good. I have a guest who was actually there, and that's Victor Farias, Flags Officer. Nice to have you on a program.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here again. I enjoyed last time I was here, and this time I'm trying to do a little bit more than I need to do.
Yeah.
But it was a very great.
Now you raised the flag. You're the Flags Officer.
Right. I lowered it in the morning, and I raised it up in the afternoon when we were all done with the ceremony. Yes, I raise all the flags, and I go around all the monuments, like I said before, to make sure there's no graffiti on them. They're all ready to go for Memorial Day weekend.
We have to give a good thanks to Joe Ribeiro.
Yes, he did.
The
grounds there was so beautiful the way he did it. He did it, and then adding the flags, it just brought out everything like it was actually a cemetery plot where he's buried. It's sacred ground anyways.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful sight. Turned out to be a beautiful day, which even was a plus for us.
Now you're the Flags and Graves Officers.
Yes, sir.
In the city of Fall River, and that must have been a real busy day for you, Monday.
Well, Monday was busy, but
the whole weekend.
I started Wednesday with the kids from the Holy Name Church school. They came down on a Wednesday and helped me put out about 150 flags at Oak Grove Cemetery. So that was an experience for them. It's the Hope Club. That's the name of the club. It was a Hope Club. They're very interested in that. So we put out 150 flags that day. And then, of course, we have our starting Friday, which is the raising of the flag at Oak Grove Cemetery. We lower the old flag half-staff, and then we raise the new flag up. This year, the flag came from Washington, D.C. It was flew over the Capitol. And then the one that stands as you're going in through the entrance, that flag gets brought down to the bottom of Oak Grove side. We lower that one, and then we put up the one that's up the top at the bottom. And then that's where we usually start off. Everybody that's there usually grabs a flag and go around, picks up the old flags that are up there, and then start placing the new flags at the monument.
So you really work all weekend putting flags up?
Just about,
placing
yes.
Flags.
Right. With all
How many flags eventually get placed?
We usually average around anywhere from 9,000 to 11,000 flags throughout the whole
city.
That comes out of the city. Well, the veterans agent
budget.
Budget.
Now, Monday, there was a parade in the city for River 130. There was a ceremony at
the
Kennedy,
yes.
Kennedy Park, and then a parade at 2 o'clock. Now, I was in the parade, and as I was going down, I mean, a lot of people had flags. So
Yes.
those flags were distributed?
Yes, they were. They were distributed by the 207th Vietnam vets out of Westport. Billy Damaris.
Oh, yeah.
He handed out some, and a few other the Girl Scouts and Cub Scouts. They handed out flags to all the people that were out in line. Which there was a lot of people out there.
Yeah, it was a
Pretty good sized
good
crowd.
turnout.
Yes, it was.
Over the years, sometimes you think maybe it's dwindling, but it was a nice day.
Yes, it
people,
was.
I guess,
The year before we had some rain, so this
Yeah.
year we had it was it was a little misty, but it wasn't too bad. And we usually start at Snake Hill, North Park. That's the War on Terror for Robert Barrett, Scott Andrew, and Private Booton, Sergeant Booton, and that's the beginning of the parade, of the ceremony for us on Monday. Then, of course, from there we go to Miller. Some of us go onto the battleship because of the Vietnam era,
Oh, yeah.
and
Do the Gold Star Mullers, are they there that day on Memorial Day?
yes, the Gold Star moms show up. Well, we had that big, ceremony on a Friday right after the flags at Oak Grove. We went down to a bicentennial monument for the Gold Star families, where they had all of 293 flags that flown. That's 293 soldiers that have passed away in Massachusetts. And so they had the Gold Star families there, which was a nice ceremony too. That was
So-
that Friday afternoon.
Yeah, it was quite a day. What did you think about the parade itself, as far as the number of units?
It was pretty good size. I was surprised that the 211, I mean the 101st didn't show up, or the 211 band. They might have been busy because usually they're usually there. Some
Yeah.
military bands didn't show up this year, but if they have prior commitments, it's kind of hard to be in one spot and then go into the other spot. So
a lot of those units are in demand and not
it's
easy to
tough.
move from one location
Right.
to another.
But we had a good sized crowd. I mean, it was a good sized parade, and from what I heard, a lot of people enjoyed it and they loved it. We had two great the marshals. Were Chief Jennings and his son, Captain Jennings.
Do you
They're
think,
both-
Victor? Do you think we need vendors down there to sell like popcorn, ice cream?
If some of the proceeds would go to the veterans, I would think. Yeah, it would be nice because this way here, you got
Yeah,
while you're waiting.
yeah. Even that ice cream place across from Kennedy Park was not open.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
I mean, that would
That
be
would be
a
nice.
good day to open up with all
Sure.
those people there. And the
Right,
kids,
exactly.
The kids, of course, they beg their parents for ice cream.
I mean, I don't know why they didn't open up, but I mean, there would be something to do. Sell
Yeah, I
popcorn.
noticed. I looked. I saw not
Yeah,
open.
no, no.
You know.
And there was a lot of people there at that
Oh
setting
yeah,
up.
and others would come over if they saw
Oh,
that
of course
it was
they would.
open.
Of course. There's a little store down the street that sells popcorn. They were selling popcorn. But yeah, I don't know why they don't open up. Maybe it's the season. They
Yeah,
wait.
Memorial Day is usually the day things
Open up,
open
yeah.
up, and
it
Labor
starts
Day
open, yeah.
things
Close down, of course. Of course. Like I was saying before, the Vietnam Monument, which is what we do at 1:30, that's a big ceremony. I like that.
Yeah.
When they have the 207 down there shooting rifles off. I would love to make all of them. I usually have a hard time going on a battleship
imagine.
because
Now, the battleship at one time fired off some of its 5-inch guns. Is that happening anymore?
they didn't shoot it off this year. I don't know why. Well, yes, they did. I don't know if you heard them. They did go off. But I don't think they do it all the time. But I'm almost positive I heard them go off this year.
If they shot off the 12-inch, the battleship would end up in Somerset.
I don't know. I think it would still be standing. They had the big guns Friday afternoon at the Gold Star family.
It's
Those
not the
were-
12-inch.
No,
No, 5-inch.
5-inch, yeah. There was
Yeah, those things
Yeah, those
powerful.
things helped. Yeah, but it was a pretty good ceremony. What did you think about the parade itself?
Well, I was in the parade, and there was a number of people. I can't say it was any smaller than usual.
But
I remember, though, long ago we had a horse contingent. I think they were dressed like colonials
Colonial.
on horses. They
Right.
were a great attraction, especially in the assembly area.
right.
At Kennedy Park, people would go over to see all what they. Did you notice if there was the drum and fife corps?
No, I didn't. They went. I didn't see them there. The Colonial.
They're always good.
They were, but they were in Somerset, I think. They were in Somerset playing because I seen it on TV.
So Fall River doesn't have its own drum and fife corps, maybe?
Well, no, we just have the Colonial band.
Yeah.
Uh,
Those are the things that make a
a
parade.
parade like that, yeah, it does. Because
The
it's
more-
like being the Bristol 4th of July parade. You have all the military units
Yeah,
together.
People like the music, that pump.
Pump us up, yeah. Usually we have that during the Veterans Day. The Veterans Day parade is
In
a little
November?
Bit, in November is a little bigger. It shows more veterans, more units, more soldiers. From
Now, do you know
different places.
who is in charge of the parade?
Uh,
In other words, is it a veterans group, or
it's the council, the
War-
Veterans War Council.
they're in charge?
They're in
of it?
charge. It's all the local chapters get together, and we all get together on like on.
Now,
a
are you on
Monday.
that council?
Yes, I belong to
So your group plans the parade?
right. Our group plans it. We
Now, how
get
do you get the
everything.
units? Do units call you, or you call out to the?
We,
for the
we,
units?
we try to get a hold of them by sending them invitations and see if they respond back to see if they want to come down to Fall River. But usually we send it out on, well, right now we're going to start for Veterans Day. So
Yeah.
we always, as soon as the Veterans is done, we're going to start for.
And you make a list of people who.
We have a list of everything that,
Who lines them up?
well, we have the commander is Bob Viner, and then you got Richie Capaceris, who's the vice commander for the War Council. And we have a chief of staff that we get all together, and they get all together and start planning, getting all the names of all the units, names of every school that wants, and all the clubs, Boy Scouts, and all that. That's how we use
Now,
it.
do you try to get the veterans groups that walk behind a band?
We try to get them where there's some music so they can follow.
It keeps
Keep in
most of
pace,
us in
yes.
step.
Right. The band usually makes us
You hear the beat, bump, bump left.
left,
bump.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how we usually keep up. We try to put a band in a certain area. There's whatever units in front of us. We try to get a band in front of them. Then, of course, you have all non-military personnel behind the
Yeah, the antique
units,
cars and
the
things of
fire
that nature.
department,
Yeah.
police, sheriffs, and all them. They're all in the back.
In the back.
In back of the
That's
units, right.
not to be disrespectful. but
No.
It's a Veterans
Right.
Day parade for
Right.
veterans.
Well, Memorial Day, they can be in the same area because it's remembering all the deceased that have gone before us.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's memory. But during the Veterans Day, we like to keep all veterans
I see.
in front, and then non-veterans and units behind
Okay.
the veterans.
Yeah.
So because that's the day for all of us veterans that we march in front of everybody.
Do you have any idea how long this parade has been going on in Fall River?
I can, as long as I can remember. I'm 58 years old, maybe less than that, but I've been in it for going on 10 years now. So
Now I noticed that the route changed a little when you get to
This year.
City Hall. Instead of going right, they just went straight along
Right.
North Main. So more convenient.
I was better off, so we can just get out into the parking lot there, and then the cars would just, whoever was staying would stay there, and then the rest of the people would have to just get out and not hang around where Sullivan Drive is.
No,
Everybody-
no reviewing stand.
There was the stand wasn't there, right?
I
Which
saw the people standing. but
Right, there was
no,
nobody,
No reviewing stand
itself, I'm not sure why we didn't get one this year.
right in front of the city hall. I mean,
We think we're going to have to work on that. I'll bring it up at the next meeting. I think we should have one over there, so at least people can sit down, and even the dignitaries can sit down as the units are going by and saluting everybody.
yeah.
I'll bring
you
it
know,
up.
a little elevation. You can see them, the veterans, especially for Veterans Day, because
Sure.
they usually like to
Salute.
have the flag and then they salute.
Right,
It
right.
makes it look a lot more professional.
Looks sharp. It looks
Yeah.
It looks sharp, and it looks like
Yeah.
something great.
And how about, I mean, special dignitaries? You see the same, you see the mayor and you see some city councilors, et cetera. But is there any effort to bring in special people, like a general, an admiral, even if they're retired, someone that maybe, served, in Iraq or something, but retired, and he's a person is especially honored?
Well, that's where we get the Grand Marshals. We try to pick someone that's retired, or it doesn't have to be retired, but it's spent some time in the service. We go by what they've done, citations that they have.
Yeah, I remember one time Hudner
Yes.
was the Grand Marshal.
Right.
The Grand Marshal usually is in the front of the parade, the very first person.
This year we had the police, Gold Star families. Grand Marshal was behind the Gold Star families, and then the band. So they're kind of like the third, but usually they're the first or the second ones in there. This year, like I said, we had Chief McDonald, who was a Marine, fought in Vietnam, and
Chief McDonald,
not Chief McDonald, I'm sorry, Chief Jennings,
police chief.
fire chief. He was a fire chief.
Well, he was. I
Yes,
mean,
he's
Lynch is
retired.
the fire chief
He
now.
were- Yes, but the Grand Marshal this year was
Jennings.
Jennings and his son Jennings. They're both Marines. One
yeah.
fought in Vietnam, and the father fought in Vietnam, and the son fought in Iraq.
Oh, were they in uniform?
They're in their
Marine uniform?
not the Marines. They had their fire fire
it's a
uniform
Fire
on.
uniform.
They were the Grand Marshals this year. And then when the parade's all done, we give them a citation inside the atrium in the City Hall after we do the speeches, thank everybody.
Yeah, when
Sure.
the Bank Street Armory was used,
That's what it used to be.
would go inside the armory. Yeah, it was a pretty nice, occasion, because with coffee and donuts,
Donuts, yeah,
a lot of people
we
would.
still have it.
Then they'd sit down, relax a little, especially the ones who walked.
Right,
Then you had your little ceremony.
exactly. We have the colors, retreating of the colors and presenting the colors. We have they had the rifles shooting the 21 gun salute. We also had taps being played in City Hall. So that was the final day, the final event of the day.
But
was
that doesn't
over.
happen anymore, right?
No, it did happen this year.
Oh, it did happen
Yeah,
this
we
year?
had it
Where was it?
inside the City Hall itself.
Yeah, we didn't fire you, right?
No, we fired outside, right outside the door.
Oh, okay, so there was a ceremony
Yes.
inside.
Right, there was a ceremony inside where they thanked everybody. And then after that, after we retired the colors, we went outside and they shot the 21 gun salute and played taps right outside the door.
All right.
So, yeah, they
Because
usually,
last year that didn't happen, did it?
well, I'm almost positive it did because
Oh,
we
it did, okay.
usually do it. And then we used to go down to the final ceremony would be at Hiroshima, down by Centennial. But I don't know what happened this year. We didn't do it. I think the Marine Corps League, one of the members wasn't feeling that good, so they didn't.
They didn't want to do it.
Yeah, which
That's
it takes
strange.
a lot.
One doesn't feel good.
right.
You call off the war.
But it was usually they have a nice setup down there, and it's
Yeah.
it's something to see. I enjoy it when I'm down there, not talking bad about anybody, but if I guess somebody's not feeling well, then everybody's getting old. We gotta get more young.
You know, a guy told me long ago, it was probably Veterans Day parade, but it was raining. And he showed up and he said, you know, they didn't stop the war when it rained, did they?
That's right. They don't. You're right.
I never forgot that.
Was it last year or the year before? It was raining.
Last year.
Was it last year? It was raining.
Did you go to Miller last year?
Yes, we did.
We got soaked.
Yeah. Well, we got soaked at Snake Hill, and then from Snake Hill we went to Miller. Got soaked there, and then when somebody asked the commander, Lenny Tavares, at that time, he goes, "Are we going to cancel the parade?" And he turned around and he said, "Well, I don't know. Did the soldiers ever cancel the war when they were in harm's way?"
Now Lenny, he couldn't make it today, matter of fact, because yeah, I had asked him to come on, but he had to do something today. That's why Lenny Tavares is not here. Now, what's his title?
Right now, he's just a regular.
But he
was commander
of the War Veterans
of
Council.
the War Council.
Okay.
And then he switched it over there. This year, he handed the rings over to Bob Viner, who became commander, and then Richard Kepaseris took vice commander. Yes.
Do you have like a senior vice, junior vice in that organization?
Just
commander and
vice commander. Yes. And then Herman Bomback, you know him. He's treasurer. No, I'm sorry. He's the secretary. And Mr. Peace. He's the treasurer. He's a Polish, the Polish Vets Association.
Eddie Peace. Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
Now the American Legion 314 closed its doors. How about the VFW on Bedford Street?
No, that's still open.
Still moving along.
Still moving along. They were trying to do something. Well, they're trying to do something with the one on 3rd Street. I'm not sure where they're going to be holding their meetings, but they're trying to make get some clubs, see if they can get and hold their meetings. Yeah. So far, I haven't heard anything about it.
Now the VFW on Bedford Street, non-smoking now.
Yeah, you can't.
That's an improvement.
That's from what it was before.
That's
right?
smokers. You get inside there, and
people. Well, you can't blame some of the folks that go there if they're going there for a time and you smell that. It's not like before. It's changed. We're all trying to get healthy, and
people don't.
That smoke thing doesn't.
Yeah, that's out the window. I remember being on airplanes. People were smoking.
Yeah.
Buses, trains. I mean, can you
hospitals.
Hospitals. Yeah. Imagine how we lived back then, or people lived back then, where you could go to a hospital and have a cigarette.
You'd be sitting there. I remember having a cigar. My wife had my first daughter, and now I'm sitting in the waiting room and I'm passing out cigars, having a cigar at that time. So it's like it's changed.
What about this? We were talking before the show of the fact that St. Anne's Hospital or Charlton Hospital doesn't even have a clinic for veterans.
Yeah, you and I talked about that last time too. I think we got to get either our politicians get involved with it, or see if the hospital and themselves can open up to the veterans.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't have to be anything special. If it was a veteran, he shows the card, he gets his blood work, pressure, and things of that nature, instead of going to Providence or New Bedford, where the clinic is.
Well, it's safe. If something really happens, they got to take you in it. They got to take us.
Oh, they have to. Yeah. Well, if you're going by ambulance.
But but still, there should be something that they should be able to do it for
regular basis.
Right. Instead of going.
Victor, we had some guys in their late 70s, early 80s. They get on a little minibus and go all the way to.
Yeah, it's harder for them. It's harder for an older vet to get up, and if it's comfortable. You're getting a ride up there, But still, you know, suppose you don't feel like getting in that vehicle this
Yeah,
day,
if you're
you know?
close by, you could have a family member just drive you
Drive you over
down,
there.
just drop you off. You get your appointment 10 o'clock.
It's there,
Your
yep.
blood work, pressure. It's really not right.
No, it's not. Like you and I said before, maybe our dignitaries should do something about it. I don't know. I mean, the hospitals can help.
I've mentioned it to quite a few politicians, but I even wrote a letter to Senator Elizabeth Warren.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we should talk to the Secretary Uranius from Boston. He's pretty good with a lot of veterans, and we do. Fall River does do a lot for our vets. We try to do a lot for our veterans. Pine Street does wonders down there with their food and clothing them. And Ray Haig is he's an outstanding VSO. He does a great job. That office does a great job there.
That's how I got your telephone number.
They know my number up there. Anybody can get a hold of me to just call them up.
So what's new on the horizon? We're down to the last couple of minutes.
My biggest thing is I'd like to see. We got to get some of these cemeteries to. If we can get volunteers, I went to a few of them already, and I think they just let the grass grow over their plaques.
The flat ones?
The flat ones, flat stones. And it's hard if you're going to me or you going to plant a flag or flowers, we can't see it because it's either covered or there's a little hole that's...
Yeah, those should, you just V it around.
I am either have volunteers go in and let the cemetery let us go in there a week before.
Well, count me in. I'll put me on the list if you get volunteers.
Okay.
I've got a shovel. I don't mind.
I don't mind doing it. We gotta, because I know, because a lot of people have called. Well, my father has
the veterans plaques.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. It's not hard to do it.
No.
But
we'll be on a Saturday and
just take a cemetery. Right. Take a cemetery. Go in there and look for. Make like a picnic, like a family outing.
And we could make a list, so we know the next time.
Mm-hmm. That it's all there.
Yeah.
Because I know there's a lot of veterans that don't get flags, that get passed by, and it's not. I mean, it's not anybody's fault. It's just the way I think they stopped taking care of it.
Yeah. I've gone to St. Patrick's Cemetery because my grandfather is there, and others.
Right.
But his is not that distinguishable.
Right.
Like you just mentioned, because they tend to, the older ones tend to be
left.
They're so old, it's almost, they don't even know they're there anymore.
Exactly. And if there's no family of them around, they're all passed and they're all gone, now what happens? They just, and that's what I think we should, concentrate on trying to get, to show the people that there's more than...
there could be some actually just, you might say buried, they're just covered over. Well, we're down to the end of the show. Look, it was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much.
You're always welcome to come back anytime something is new. I want to thank everybody out there for watching, and don't forget, even though Memorial Day is past, that doesn't mean you can't still remember your loved ones that served, never came back, or even the ones who are serving now. They always, need a little boost, a little support. They go off to a foreign country. It's not easy. Just ask me. I spent 2 years over there. Okay, thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.